Want to welcome everyone to today's Insight session. We'll be talking about more about the Stratum connectors, the new way of getting data out of the Stratum application. Which connector should you use? We now have two different connectors that are brand new, essentially, and they're both one's for Excel and one's for Power BI. And well, this session is going to talk about which connector you should use, which tool, Excel or Power BI at the end of the day, should you use for your business situation. My name's Adam Kurtz. I'm with Sylvan Software, and I'll be stepping you through today's session. I have been involved with Sylvan for a long time and have done a lot of things for Sylvan in terms of Sylvan and consulting services. Today we'll be talking, again, we'll cover off on the Stratum Data Hub just to kind of keep that theme alive and consistent. And then we'll talk about the benefits of using Excel and the drawbacks of using Excel. We'll do the same thing for Power BI, keeping in mind that when we talk about these tools, certainly we'll be using the Stratum connector for these. So keep that in mind. And then which connector should I use? At the end of the day, there's going to be pros and cons of using Excel and Power BI, but you know, which one's the better one to use given your variables and your business variables and situations. And then we'll look at it. I'll actually show the connectors, and we'll kind of take a look at what we've discussed through the session, and we'll take any further questions. So you know, this concept of the Stratum Data Hub today, we'll be concentrating on the Access Hub, specifically on the Excel add-in and Power BI connector. So those are the two connectors that we'll be talking about today. But as you can see, the entire Stratum Data Hub with the applications there in the middle, we've got the Access Hub where you can get data out of Stratum very easily using Excel, Power BI, API methods or calls, email distributions, so on and so forth. So the Access Hub versus the Analyst Hub, which is kind of getting data in. So this concept of getting data in and out of Stratum is now easier. It can be done through the interface, and certainly we have some. Let me make sure everyone gets in here. And we want to make sure that, you know, there's an easy way of getting data in and out. Creating data is another one. So we've talked a little bit about Analyst Hub, but today, again, we're going to be focusing in on these connectors. So what are the benefits of using Excel? Well, first of all, Excel is very common. You know, it's used by many. You know, Wall Street Journal just had an article the other day about how financial users just can't let go of it. You know, so it's something that I think is going to stick around. It's one of those things where you say Excel when you talk about spreadsheets. It's almost like Coke when you talk about a pop. So you know, Microsoft's been able to implement themselves pretty solidly into the business arena with their product and their brand awareness. And we all know Excel. Well, if you want a number crunch, typically you're going to do some things in Excel. I mean, that's just the way it is. Speaking of number crunching, Excel, I actually didn't know this until I did a little research on it. 400 available functions. And so, you know, wow, the ad hoc calculations and computations are almost limitless in terms of what you can do within Excel. So I think Excel wins the game there in terms of being able to calculate off of the data that you bring down from Stratum. More advanced graphs and charts. They may not be as pretty, but they're definitely more customizable. So Excel has a better list of more sophisticated charts and graphs. The customizing options are much more in depth versus the Power BI tool. So, you know, if you're going to want to really make a lot of personalizations into your charts or your graphs or whatever, you know, you're creating a visualization. I think Excel kind of wins the game there. You know, if you're focusing in on a meeting and you really want to highly customize that graph or that report, then I think Excel is your tool. So And again, using the Excel connector, getting data out of Stratum, I'm going to show you that real quick. You just hook it up to your views and you're off and running. So pretty cool concept, and getting data into Excel pretty easy to. The benefit of Stratum was, of course, is, you tapping into the data that you've had. It's consistent, it's accurate, it's good. Drawbacks of using Excel, a couple of them. The collaboration isn't great. So, if you're going to share an Excel spreadsheet, normally what we see out there is, you place it out on a file share somewhere. When you email it to someone, of course, there's the cloud capability, but the collaboration isn't great, right? So, it's in comparison to Power BI, it's just not as good. Excel, you have to pay for it. I mean, at the end of the day, Power BI does have a free version, so you can essentially do some things with Power BI that for free that you would not be able to do with Excel. So, I'm sure I can think of more drawbacks of using Excel, but these are the blatant glaring ones that exist today. The benefits of Power BI, let's talk a little bit about Power BI, switching gears a little bit. Collaboration, awesome. It's got these awesome cloud-based features. You can upload your dashboard report, whatever it is that you've created, your visualizations. And you can upload those to the cloud. The Power BI gateway is available to auto refresh these reports. So at the end of the day, cloud-based features, Power BI kind of wins the game there. Being able to share, being able to, as long as it's within your enterprise, it wins. Volumes of data, typically Power BI, I've seen Excel kind of choke on, rows, hundreds of thousands of rows of data. Normally Excel has gotten better, typically you can get a lot more data into Excel, but you might want to ask yourself, what am I doing with 1 million rows of data in the first place? So, I think that Power BI handles the volumes of data more gracefully. It's got the Power Query embedded inside of it. It does use some powerful compression algorithms that handles the data, the volumes of data a little bit more gracefully than Excel does. Excel, don't be misled here. Excel is still better for analysis at detail levels, but it seems that if you're going to report or build KPIs off of detail level and make summarizations off of that, Power BI does work well. So in terms of that. Now, if you need to get to the detail from a Power BI dashboard, we have a new Go to Stratum visual within Power BI that makes the drill through to Stratum much easier. Whereas before you had to create some parameters, you had to match that up with what the ID or the members, the dimensions that you're passing from the Power BI report. Trust me, it wasn't easy. Now it's very easy, and I'll show you some of the steps involved in terms of creating that visual. First of all, getting it from the Microsoft Access area and downloading that and making it available within your Power BI report. So Power BI, great for summary KPIs, great for drill through. If you need to get more detail on the dashboard, you have this concept of drilling to detail, which would then drill you to a viewer view, which would provide that detail. Pretty cool concept there, and I'll show you how it works. So Power BI, yeah, it's great for dashboards, alerts, KPIs. It's very visual. It's aesthetically pleasing. Some would call it beautiful. I've read some things about that. But yeah, it is pretty. It is interesting how you can put together such a pretty thing in such a quick amount of time. So I think it is more aesthetically pleasing in terms of visualizations that you get with the Power BI interface. And the research that I've done, I know that there's a lot out there that agree with me on that. Free is always fun. There is a free version of the Power BI desktop. It does have some limitations, of course, but at least you can get your paws on it and start playing around with it. Yes, you can hook it up to our connector and use it for free. So some things, obviously you don't have the enterprise ability for collaboration, the Power BI gateway, that all comes with the premium version, but at least you can get your toes wet building on some personal dashboards and reports using the Power BI interface. So if you haven't done that, dive in And certainly we can provide the connector for you if you're licensed for it, and certainly you could benefit from that. So those are some of the great things about Power BI. What are some of the not so great things about Power BI? Well, it's not great for tabular reporting. So, again, if you want this row column formatted type of report, Power BI is probably not the best concept for that. So you're back to using Excel, I think, better for the tabular style of reporting. And I think that's just pretty self-explanatory. Power BI does have a steeper learning curve to new users. Typically, as we all went through college, even I, as old as I am, we used, I think, Lotus 1-2-3 back in the day. So, we all used a spreadsheet, in our experiences, whether in college or getting ready for the business world or just being the experience in the business world. We already know inherently, it seems, how to use Excel. Power BI, you put a Power BI interface in front of a new user, they're going to be somewhat lost. So yes, it does have this learning curve. Although it's pretty simple to figure out, it has some sophisticated things to it. It does take longer to learn versus the spreadsheet. It does not have those powerful functions, all of those. It does have some functions, yes, but not 400 of them, okay? So don't be looking for the same things that you might find in Excel and Power BI. Okay, so you have some things to think about there in terms of what you want to do with the data and how you want to calculate it before you start thinking about which interface you want to use here. Power BI, as I said, collaboration, yes, Power BI is awesome for it, but it can be limited. So based on sharing outside of your enterprise. So be aware of that. That's some things that I've experienced personally, and certainly the community out there has experienced it as well. Performance issues. I've noticed that some folks out there do have some performance issues with Power BI. Fortunately, I think with Stratum, the data is already, again, stored in an architecture where getting data out is optimized. So I think being with Stratum in that instance, being with Sylvan, partnering with us, kind of gets you over that hump. It doesn't, you don't have users out there creating their own queries. We're already tapping into views that should perform well and get the data that they need out of those views, and certainly, not bogging down the ARP server with live queries. So that's something that we want to stay away from that concept. That's not best practice in the world of analytics. All right. So some things to think about there in terms of the cons of the Power BI. So at the end of the day, who wins the war? Who wins the game? Well, really, nobody wins anything at the end of the day. I think the user wins if they make the right choice, I think, is the real answer here. High level versus detailed analytics. I think that, Power BI is better for your high to medium level. You can use that drill to capability. Yes, it's good with high volumes of data, but you don't want a dashboard or a Power BI visualization with thousands of entities in it. It's just, it violates the best practice rules of of graphing or charting, business charting. So Power BI, great for high level. You do have the drill through to get to that detail with Stratum. Excel, better for the low level, better for invoice level detail if you need it. Summarize that using pivot tables, etc. But detail, again, tabular, again, you're going to want to use Excel for that. Is collaboration going to be an issue? Is this something that you want everyone to see, or is this something that you just want to work with on your own? You want to crunch some numbers there on your own. You don't care necessarily to share. Again, I think Excel would be your best bet there versus, yeah, this is something I want to create. Something that people need to see every week or every month or whenever they can, actually on demand. Collaboration then would be your option, and Power BI would win that particular case. How much data are we talking about? Excel might handle detail level analysis better, but it may choke on the volumes. Whereas Power BI with its compression might be more graceful, but you won't be able to get all of that detail within your visualizations. Almost like a catch-22 situation here. And I think you have to kind of think about, how you want to handle this. And again, with Stratum's powerful go to Stratum drill through button, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get to that detail. Is cost a factor? Again, Power BI, at least you can get a free version. Excel, you're going to pay for, typically you're going to pay for a subscription to get Office 365 to get access to that. So is cost a factor? Is this something that you want to use for free or to pay for it? Some other things to think about. Do you want advanced visualizations? Do you want to be able to personalize your visualizations more? Or do you want beautiful ones, more aesthetically pleasing visualizations? I think Power BI would be the beautiful interface to use, but you're not going to quite get the customization options that you will with Excel. So I think that using Excel might give you the personal touch that you're looking for. Whereas if you just want to collaborate, throw something out there, make it look real nice, Power BI kind of wins that case. So really depends, right? It depends on what you want to do, how the data's involved. There's some variables involved here, right? That needs to be, they need to be assessed before you move forward with that. And with that being said, Viewer 7.3, I should say Stratum 7.3 is available. That is released, and we are now up and running, general availability for version 7.3, which brings that Excel connector to the table. So now that becomes available, where users can now tap in directly and use Excel directly into the viewer views and tap right into those APIs. The user interface has been updated and modernized so that it just navigates better, looks better, and we've moved the admin utilities menus off of the left frame menu so that they're out of the way essentially of the users. There's been some user experience updates. There's been different ways that you can access your views, easier ways you can get to your views and drill to views. Like I said, the new Power BI visual go to Stratum is available. And we'll be doing a preview of Stratum 7.3 on the September 30th Insight. So make sure that you mark your calendars on that, and I'll step you through a complete demo of the 7.3 interface. So don't miss it. As always, you can contact me. You can reach me via email. You can contact me via, you can call us and certainly ask for me. And email is probably the best method. And make sure you check out Sylvan. We've got different ways that you can look us up. So check us out. All right, so let's take a look at some of this in terms of what we should be using in Power BI. Look at those beautiful visuals. This is something that, again, I would, each one of these are backed up by a data set that I brought in from Viewer again. So now we've got this concept of using Viewer to tap into some views. Here on the right-hand side, I've got some data sets, and these are basically just pointed to my Viewer instance using the Viewer connection that I have. So making that connection to a Viewer allows me to go out and get the data that I need for the report. So I can click on Get Data. It'll open up my Get Data menu. I can go to my other options here, and I can see my connector option here for my Sylvan Stratum views. As I make a connection to that, it will connect then to the URL. So I would need to provide the URL to my, I'll just copy that in from my demo. So now I'm actually making a live connection to the demo Viewer instance that we have here at Sylvan. It's now making that connection and it's connected. So now I have access to all the views. I can search for certain views based on keyword. I've created certain views that have what I want within my report. Here's a view called comparative sales. As you can see, it's got different flavors of time built into my columns of sales. I've got product, brand, family, line, region, some descriptions along with those. So yeah, I mean, the view itself then becomes this table, this data set of this, information that I can use within my Power BI report. So I tap into that, I load it, and now it becomes available as fields for additional reporting. So if I wanted to add in, for instance, a pie chart, maybe I want to squinch down this line chart here, and now I'm going to add in a pie I click on the pie chart over here in my visualizations, and now I can choose from the view that I just imported what I want this pie chart to show. Maybe I want year-to-date sales units. I can drag and drop that over into the pie chart, and maybe product brand by product brand. So now I just drag and drop that stuff over, and it becomes available, and I can then kind of resize certain things here, you know, to make this a little bit better looking. So pretty easy, right? I mean, I was able to add that in quickly, dragging and dropping in the fields that I get from my view that I connect to, and I'm off and running, right? I mean, this is so simple. And so I'm able to build these fantastic looking visualizations, and tapping into viewer is that easy. I can then grab more views, import additional views of data if I want to add more visualizations or have more flavors of data. Maybe I want returns or open orders, or you know, whatever it is that you might think would provide the overall business theme of the dashboard that you're looking for. That's what you want to have, right? You don't really want to throw this together in willy-nilly. The dashboard should have a theme and a concept, and it should be planned out. So drill through. So again, this is only going to give you certain levels of detail, right? You're not going to have, like Excel, you're not going to have all that detail right at your fingertips. I don't see, you know, I've got summary detail. All I really have is product brand level detail here. Sales rep, you know, Power BI is cool, where I can click on Patrick Hurley here and it shows his numbers across the different board, the visualizations. So I love, you know, the way it handles that. So how do I get more detail about Patrick? How do I see some of his ship tos? You know, I don't have that information available handy here. I can't get that level of detail within my dashboard. But don't fear, I've got this drill through. So now I can drill to Stratum detail by clicking on that. It'll then ask me, well, you can get rid of that, of course, but it'll then drill me to further detail, and it'll also filter on that sales rep, you know, for the detail for that rep. And then you would get more detail for that rep. Doesn't seem to be populating at this particular moment. I may have fell off my VPN. But nevertheless, that runs the view behind the scenes, gives you that additional detail within the view itself. I might have this here. Then I uploaded this report to the cloud. Let's see if that works any better. Yeah, so here's the same report, and it doesn't seem to be populating the way I wanted to, unfortunately. Here we go. Let's try the one in here. I think this is the one I want. Yeah, so here we've got the same report I've uploaded to the cloud. I highlight Patrick Hurley. There's my drill to Stratum detail. I mean, this is essentially what they're going to see. And there you go. So that actually worked. So that's how it's going to. So notice a couple of things. I've uploaded my report to the cloud. So now anyone who has access to my workspace or any folder that I place this report or this dashboard into, they would have access to that. So you're seeing the collaboration here in work right in front of you. So being able to upload it, you'll build things within the dashboard or your designer, right, within what they call the Power BI desktop. And then when you're ready, you'll publish it up here using the publish button. And that will then in turn make it available up to the cloud. Another cool thing is that I can switch on the dime here to another rep, for instance, Janice. Again, notice how everything changes based on Janice's numbers. And as I click on the drill through for Janice, it's going to show me the data for Janice. So now it runs that same report, but here I can see that it's filtering on 305 Janice Tierney. so that this data then represents Janice's numbers. Now, while we're here, as you can see, I can get more detail. So if I needed invoice level product shipped to, whatever type of detail you're looking for, now I can get at it. Now I'm in the world of viewer, where I can say, okay, well, I really do. I'd love to see the ship tos here for some of these brands, so I can see how Janet is doing in her market, and how she's performing by the store level. So, I don't have that detail within the Power BI visual, right? So being able to create that drill through button is you're able to actually build that and make that available within your Power BI interface. The drill through visualization, notice it's over here in my go-to Stratum menu, visualizations menu. There's my go-to Stratum visualization. If you don't see it, you can always go out and get more visualizations, and that'll take you to the Microsoft App Source, and then you can download it from there. You could search on Sylvan, and indeed there it is. So then I could just download it from here. And so once that becomes available, you'll see it populate here, and then I can then go in and dictate what it is that I actually entered another one there, unfortunately. But then you'll drag and drop your fields in here for filtering, and then you can tell it how to drill through to further detail. You can give it the actual viewer URL, that type of thing, etc. So these are all just standard. So you can basically kind of build your visualization, get your go to Stratum visualization here, and have that drill through concept available within your Power BI report, and then you can drill to further detail pretty easily. The view that you're drilling to doesn't have to have any parameters or anything special to it, because of the upgrade. It will know how to handle what you're passing to it. It's that magically amazing. It really is, actually. So no more having to build parameter groups that match up, etc. So that's a really, really good thing. Let's take a look at the Excel add-in while we're here. Again, this is something where I can use Excel to dump down tabular style data. This is something where I would use Excel to get more of a tabular style report. Maybe I want to work with the detail. Maybe I want to use specific types of calculations or computations that are not available within the Power BI interface. So here you'll notice that I've got a Stratum menu option here with the Stratum add-in. If you don't have that and you're entitled to it from a license perspective, you can actually go out and get it from the app, again, from the Microsoft App Source. So that's something that you can go grab and download from the Microsoft App Source. That's something that I have already done. I've got the Stratum add-on right here, where I can then provide kind of the same concept here, right? I'm going to go ahead and click on the connector and the add-in, and it's going to ask me that same thing, right? It's going to say, do you want me to connect to the viewer URL, and what is it? Here I can say, well, every time I connect, then run a refresh so that when I open the file, the data is fresh. So I click OK to that. And by the way, yeah, that does require a URL that is secured, and that's something that we can help you set up, or we have a utility with the new version that provides that for you. Let me go ahead and type that in. Okay, that should do it. And now we're connecting. It's going to prompt me for my credentials, and it's going to make that connection. So now I'm connected. Same concept here, right? I can go to those same views, the PBI, the comparative sales view. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on insert. It's going to then process the view, and then insert the data from the comparative sales view right into my Excel spreadsheet. And there you have it. There it is. There's all the data from that view dumped right down into my Excel spreadsheet. So as many rows that you have within that view is going to end up in your Excel spreadsheet. And there you have it. You got your Excel, your tabular report right there, ready to go. If I wanted to calculate off of this data, again, I can use additional columns over here to the right, and with Excel's powerful formulas, you know, I can do all kinds of interesting calculations here using Excel's huge library of different calculations and formulas. So getting data in there. For instance, I was able to create some interesting visuals using the connector. Here we can take a look at well, a visual that's very similar to the Power BI. And you can do the same things within the Excel interface as well. So certainly, if you wanted more sophisticated graphs, you know, as long as you have the data dumped down from the viewer view, you can then go in and really kind of in another sheet here, I can go nuts with different types of visuals off of the data within my raw data sheet, if you will. That's basically pulling down from a viewer view. So, any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, chime right in, and you know, let me know if you have any questions. Any questions about anything today that you've seen? Don't be shy.
I have one on the go to Stratum button. You said that you can't use that unless you got version 7.3. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it has to be 7.3. Yep. Yeah, because otherwise you'll have to. There is a way in 7.2, but trust me, it's too many fire hoops. I think you'll have to jump through. So yeah, it's definitely worth the wait. 7.3 is available, and if you want to learn more about upgrading, feel free to contact me, and we can get you on the schedule. And you guys can do it yourself if you want to. We can do it for you, however you want to do that. So yeah, just let us know.